let's do this. We're a little bit halfway, right, through the season.
Yeah,
and this is always a good reflection moment, right? Moment. We like to reflect, right? See what things went good, went bad, improve on yourselves.
And this year's been a very weird year.
Yeah, it's been a very weird, crazy year. We're going to look at the preseason AP Top 25 and compare it to the current AP Top 25. And I'm going to go through this. We had Texas ranked number 1. We had Penn State ranked number 2. We had Clemson ranked number 4. LSU ranked number 9. You had South Carolina at 13. You had Florida at 15. Now, what do we have these teams? Inside of the top 10, we have a Georgia Tech. We have a Vanderbilt. We have an Indiana. We have a BYU. All of those preseason teams that I named are outside of the top 10.
Yeah. A lot of them are not in the top 25 at all.
Not in the top 25, and a couple of them don't have the head coaches anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
Where did the preseason top 25 go wrong? What was the miscalculation?
The miscalculation is thinking that you could apply what you've applied every year pre-transfer portal NIL era to what's going on now. When we had a meeting with the Senior Bowl scouting staff, right, we had talked about there was some part on their end that they felt that they had more information, right, on a lot of these prospects. But one of the things you and I talked about was not feeling like we had that much information because, and I think that's proving to be correct, because nobody knew what the hell was going to go on. If anybody told you that they had this in their top 10, they're lying to you because they did not have it in their top 10.
Yeah,
The teams that people had going to the championship, most people picked Clemson and Penn State. Dabo Swinney still has his job, barely. And James Franklin got fired.
He was on College Game Day.
Yes, he was on College Game Day hanging out with Nick Saban. Everybody's calling Nick Saban and trying to beg Miss Terry to let Nick Saban come out of retirement. That's where we are in college football. The next most likely person that everybody was saying was LSU. These were teams. Brian Kelly said in the preseason at SEC Media Days that this was a national championship roster. This was a national championship quarterback. Where was that?
Yeah.
I don't know. That one mystifies me.
So I'll say this. I'm going to give Dabo a little credit, right? Because I don't know if you remember this. After the game, right? After LSU played Clemson the opening week, and it might have been the Monday or Tuesday press conference, right? And he was like, to be completely honest, if I gave both teams a grade, I would have gave LSU a 65 and I'd have gave us a 60.
And I agree with that.
And guess what? He was completely right. He was completely right. The problem was they never played much better than that, right? Than 65s and 60s. So I give
and that's just when you look at the teams that you named, right? Indiana was obviously a hot team last year. For obvious reasons, all of us questioned whether or not Kurt Signetti could do it again. And he did. And he came back and he used the transfer portal to his advantage. And he made the transfer from, I think it was JMU where he came from to there, and brought a lot of guys along with him that he knew he could count on and start building off of. If you want to watch how to do it, that's how you do it. Yeah. That's how you build off of this. And I think Vanderbilt is another great example of building off the momentum that they had last year and then bringing some consistency to what they came into this year, but playing up to it. Because Cade Klubnik and Garrett Nussmeier, two guys that we had a lot of expectations for, have not played up to the expectations, have not been the guys we expected them to be. And that part of it, I think, is the most confusing, is when you talk about how talented those specific two rosters were. That one, those are a little confusing for me. Yeah. The Penn State one is less confusing because we didn't really believe in Drew Aller.
Well, we just didn't believe in that, right? The other people did, though.
For sure. The roster
Penn State
outside
to win
of
the
that,
national championship. They
100%.
said, you know what? They did the Ohio State thing, rinse and repeat. I'm going to say this. College football is in a state of disarray because of the transfer portal.
Yeah, of course.
And one thing that gets left out is the ability for these teams to have cohesiveness together. Yep. And that's why we look at the LSUs, we look at the Clemsons, we look at the Floridas, right? And we see these guys, ancillary pieces, wide receivers come in and out, offensive linemen come in and out. Yep. And we didn't pay attention to that part of the transfer portal. But we're seeing this making a tremendous impact on college football. And you're starting to see it's all about hitting in the transfer portal. And it's more than just bringing in a talent. You have to bring in chemistry. You have to bring in the right fit. It's this puzzle that you're trying to put together. And unfortunately, I'll say this, I'll put this blame on the NCAA. They're not giving the talent evaluators a proper way to do this. When you talk about kids being able to transfer in and out almost at any given goddamn time that they want to, it doesn't allow you to build the cohesiveness that you need as a football coach. And I think college football will stay being this disruptive until we fix that part of it.
Yeah, and they changed the transfer portal window,
which is huge.
That's massive because this past year was a disaster. I think of Tennessee with Nico and all that. Just there were a lot of avoidable situations by not allowing people to flirt with people after the point of which they should. It also will eliminate people stopping playing in the spring games because people didn't want to play a spring game this year because they were
players.
Correct. And that's just you're disrupting things that are necessary to the process of college football.
Which is the process of, because what happens is, I understand the coaches not wanting their players to play in spring games, but it becomes a double-edged sword is because that spring game is also another evaluation point for you to evaluate your own players.
100%.
And you miss out on the evaluation point, right?
That's the biggest part of this.
That's a huge deal.
I mean, most quarterback battles, the spring game is super influential. Those reps, that matters a lot.
Game
most of the time.
Management, getting used to headphones,
seeing how they play,
situation.
seeing what they take first team reps. I mean, all this stuff is massive for them. And this has been a knock on the NCAA because the NCAA went, you want to pay the players, fine.
Hands off.
Our hands are, we told you it was going to be a disaster. No. You did this. You did this because you didn't want to pay the players because you wanted all the money for yourselves. And that was never what needed to happen. There was a way to do this and a better way to adjust. And it's been a total disaster and shit show since the moment it changed. But playing the players was necessary. It needed to happen. The transfer portal should always reflect what coaches are allowed to do as well. Coaches can come and go as they please. I've always been in favor of players being able to make moves for themselves. The way that they had it with the spring transfer window was ridiculous. The way they have it now, I hope will make the game better. Honestly, that's what I'm hoping, because I just don't want college football to suffer, which it has because of this. Because I don't want to watch bad football, and there's been a lot of bad football this year.
Yeah, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna have a show where we fix college football, right? And
Somebody's got to.
We're gonna start at the very beginning, right? And we're just gonna work all the way through from January 1st all the way to December 31st. Yeah, and we're gonna fix all the.
And we worked in two totally. He worked at LSU. I worked in Nebraska. Two totally different conferences who rocked in totally different ways. There is a lot to be told and to be said about what can change, and maybe somebody will listen. Maybe we'll become the NCAA commissioners.